Hi, my friend. I want to tell you a story about someone who lived almost a century, not just existing but thriving. His name was Dr. Zhou Xinyou, a Chinese traditional medicine doctor who passed away at the age of 98, still seeing patients, still teaching, and still walking into the clinic 5.5 days a week. Yes, you heard that right, at 98 he was still working. His hearing was sharp, his eyes were clear, and his mind just brilliant. And he did it all without expensive supplements, trendy diets, or luxury spas. What he practiced was a simple, grounded lifestyle. And today, I'd like to share with you his 6 health principles that cost nothing, but are priceless. Let's begin. 1. Live with nature. Follow the sun. Dr. Zhou had one simple rule: live with the sun. He woke up every morning at the same time, went to bed at the same time, and never stayed up late. No scrolling on the phone at midnight, no binge-watching late-night shows. He often quoted a line from an ancient Chinese medical text, something that translates roughly to, "Eat with moderation, rest with rhythm, don't overwork, and your body and spirit will align. Then, your life will last to its natural end." Now, doesn't that sound like good old common sense? But how many of us actually follow it? He believed that routine was the root of health. And balance was his golden word. Never too much, never too little. He didn't overeat. He didn't overrest. He didn't stress himself out. He walked that middle road every single day. Even when snowstorms hit Gansu, his hometown in northwest China, and everyone else called off work, he'd show up at the clinic, walking with his medicine box. "The patients are waiting," he'd smile. "Their gratitude is what keeps me alive." Modern science now backs him up. Consistent sleep, moderate activity, and emotional balance, they help regulate hormones, reduce inflammation, and slow aging. 2. Eat right. The 6 less, 6 more method. Dr. Zhou believed health begins at the mouth. He created a simple dietary guide that anyone could follow, what he called 6 less, 6 more. Let's walk through it together. Less smoking, more tea. He never touched a cigarette in his life. But tea? He loved it. Green tea in the morning to clear the mind. Oolong tea in the afternoon to help with digestion. And a little pu'er tea at night to relax and sleep better. Less alcohol, more water. Dr. Zhou wasn't against drinking entirely. When he was younger, he'd have a small shot of rice wine daily, but never more. Later in life, he switched to herbal infusions, like goji berry wine or angelica root. And always, after drinking, he'd down a glass of warm water. Why? To dilute the alcohol and help the body recover. Less salt, more vinegar and porridge. He used half as much salt as the average cook, but he loved vinegar. A splash of apple cider vinegar on salads, a dash of rice vinegar in stews. It helps soften blood vessels and support mineral absorption. He also loved congee, a kind of rice porridge that's easy on the stomach. Less meat, more veggies. His plate was always colorful. Greens, carrots, eggplant, mushrooms, black fungus, radish, you name it. And meat? Just a quarter of the plate. He followed this rule. 4 legs, like beef or pork, are worse than 2 legs, like poultry, and 2 legs are worse than none, like fish or tofu. Smart, huh? Less eating, more chewing. He chewed every bite at least 30 times. He said saliva is nature's best digestive enzyme. Chewing well lightens the load on your stomach and helps nutrients absorb better. Less sugar, more fruit. No candy, no cake. Instead, he enjoyed seasonal fruits. Strawberries in spring, watermelon in summer, pears in fall, apples in winter. Let your sweet tooth follow nature's rhythm. He also gave some kitchen advice. Keep small plates so you naturally eat less. Have multiple types of vinegar on hand. Use wooden boards just for garlic and ginger. These little details, he said, make a big difference. 3. Care for your essence, protecting the 3 treasures. In traditional Chinese medicine, health comes from protecting 3 treasures: your essence, your energy, and your spirit. Dr. Zhou believed that overindulgence, especially in sex, can drain you. And he gave practical guidelines. In your 30s, no more than 2 to 3 times a week. In your 40s, once or twice every 10 days. In your 60s, once or twice a month. In your 80s, the desire is more spiritual than physical. He also practiced morning rituals, tapping his teeth, swallowing saliva, and massaging his lower back before getting out of bed. And in the evenings, he made herbal soups with ingredients like eucalyptus bark and cooked quietly, slowly. No stress, no rush. He said people often chase pleasure because of emotional emptiness. So he encouraged his students to pick up arts and hobbies, calligraphy, painting, playing music, to channel desires into creativity. Modern research? It supports him too. Regular routines, emotional balance, and a rich inner life all help regulate hormones and support longevity, especially in men. You see, the man believed in movement with purpose. Not sweating buckets in the gym. Not chasing trends like CrossFit at 70. But slow, intentional movement, the kind that balances the body and quiets the mind. For Move with the Seasons, the art of living rhythmically, Dr. Zhou lived by something he called a seasonal sleep chart. He didn't keep the same schedule year-round. Instead, he adjusted his life according to the weather, temperature, and daylight. It's kind of like how farmers used to live in America too, waking up earlier in summer, resting more in winter. Here's what his four-season rhythm looked like. Spring. Wake up at 6 a.m., sleep by 10 p.m. Start moving a bit more. Spring is about renewal. Summer. Wake at 5 a.m., sleep around 10:30 p.m., and take a short nap at noon. Fall. Rise at 6:30 a.m., sleep by 9:30 p.m., start slowing down, like the leaves falling. Winter. Sleep in a little. Up at 7 a.m., bed by 9 p.m. Stay warm and conserve energy. Does that sound strict? Maybe. But it worked. Even at 98, he was full of life, walking into clinics, guiding students. And here's what I love. Every 90 minutes of work, he'd take a 15-minute break. Not to scroll on his phone, not to stare at TV. He'd close his eyes, stretch, or do some simple qigong breathing. He also had a habit most of us can try, something he called the midday and midnight recharge. If possible, he'd rest around 12 p.m. and 11 p.m., even if just for 10 to 20 minutes. Not to nap hard, but to reset the body like plugging in your phone. 5. His way of moving. Exercise without exercising. Dr. Zhou had 3 movement phases in his life. In his younger years, he practiced martial arts, strong stances, slow breathing. It kept his body sturdy. In his middle age, he switched to Tai Chi and animal-style stretches, inspired by ancient Chinese health movements, mimicking the tiger, the deer, the bird. If you've ever seen Tai Chi in the park, soft flowing motions, you'll know what I mean. But in his later years, he got creative. He turned calligraphy, yes, writing Chinese characters, into a kind of moving meditation. He called it 1-minute qigong. Here's how it worked. Sit comfortably, feet flat, spine straight. Inhale through the nose for 4 seconds. Hold it for 2 seconds. Exhale slowly for 6 seconds. While breathing, imagine warmth spinning in your belly, like a small fire. Afterward, rub your hands together and cover your eyes or chest for warmth. This practice relaxes the nervous system, slows the heart rate, and helps people fall asleep faster, especially if done after writing or reading. He even had a routine for insomnia. Write something calming for 30 minutes, a prayer, a poem, maybe just your thoughts, and then do the breathing. He said, "You'll fall asleep in 10 minutes without fail." And many of his students said it worked. 6. The power of joy, singing, writing, and growing old with friends. One of my favorite parts about Dr. Zhou's story? He didn't just live long. He lived joyfully. Twice a week, every Tuesday and Friday, he'd warm up his voice and sing old opera songs. Not professionally. Not for applause. Just for the joy of using his lungs, projecting his voice, and feeling alive. He even turned medical sayings into lyrics and sang them like Broadway tunes. Fun, a little quirky, and full of life. When he felt frustrated, he'd take out his brush and write big bold strokes on rice paper. When he felt sad, he'd copy calm, ancient poems. When he felt scattered, he'd write the same scripture over and over, like meditation. That, my friend, is emotional self-care, without a therapist or a pill. And yes, he was social. Once a month, he'd host what he called a health tea gathering with other retired friends, a former farmer, a carpenter, an artist, an old nurse. They'd chat, laugh, and talk about life. When he was too old to meet in person, he switched to video calls. At 90, he was still teaching online. Can you believe that? He had a trick for sudden anger too. If he got really upset, he'd press his tongue against the roof of his mouth, take a deep breath, and rub the center of his palm. Count to 10, he'd say, and then say nothing. Bonus tip: little habits for modern folks like us. Even though Dr. Zhou didn't grow up with screens, he had advice for today's tech-heavy world. Every 45 minutes of screen time, look away and stare at something green like a tree. In the evening, switch to amber lighting instead of bright white bulbs. Set your phone to Do Not Disturb between 9 to 11 p.m. Your body will thank you. And if you work at a desk, every hour, stand up and roll your shoulders. Maybe use a grip strength ball while on the phone. On public transport, he'd often stand on one leg for balance or tighten his core muscles subtly, like a secret little workout while waiting for the bus. Dr. Zhou believed that longevity wasn't about a magic supplement or an elite trainer. It was about doing the simple things consistently over a long time, just like growing a tree. You don't shout at it to grow. You water it, protect it, and let time do the rest. And you know what? That's a pretty comforting thought. He wasn't just a doctor. He was a teacher, a friend, and in many ways, a mirror for how we might want to live our golden years. Even in his 90s, he believed in learning, sharing, and living with purpose. Not because society expected it of him, but because it made him feel alive. And to help others, he left behind what he called his seasonal health calendar. It's a yearly guide drawn from his journals and notes, gentle reminders for each month. Let's take a quiet walk through it together. Dr. Zhou's Year of Wellness, a gentle monthly guide. January, focus on your liver and gallbladder. Skip sour foods, eat light greens, and sleep in a bit. Winter mornings can wait. March, time to open up your body. Bitter greens like dandelion or spring herbs help with detox. Try morning stretching with the sunrise. May, the heart is most active. Take it easy. Nap after lunch if you can. Avoid stressful arguments or heavy exercise in the heat. July, watch for humidity and digestive trouble. Eat more barley, melons, and drink herbal teas to beat the summer heaviness. September, protect your lungs. The air gets dry. Sip honey water in the morning and practice gentle breathing exercises. November/December, time to nourish your kidneys. Eat black-colored foods like black beans, black sesame, or blueberries. Sleep early, rise late. Let your body hibernate a little. He believed our internal organs followed the seasons, just like the trees and birds. By respecting that rhythm, he believed we age more slowly, with fewer surprises. Man in lotus position retirement isn't the end. It's the beginning of a new kind of work. Dr. Zhou never believed in completely retiring. He used to say, "Too much rest dulls the mind. A little work keeps the fire going." Even at 80, he was teaching medical students. At 90, he shifted to free community clinics, just a few hours a week. And even then, he was still writing, still creating, still mentoring from home. He believed that the mind and body need meaningful engagement. Not stress, not pressure, but a reason to get up, to move, to contribute. And if that reason is tending your garden, volunteering at a library, or even just calling a friend who needs comfort, well, that counts. His final wisdom: 5 daily practices that cost nothing. In one of his final talks, someone asked him, "What's your real secret, Dr. Zhou? Expensive herbs? Some ancient secret?" He smiled and said, "None of those. My secret is simple. I do 5 things every day. They cost me nothing, but they've given me everything. Here they are. Eat with discipline. Never full, never starved. Choose food like medicine, not entertainment. Live with order. Sleep and wake with the sun. Don't rush. Don't drag. Let life flow. Move just enough. A still body rests, but overwork wears you down. Find the balance. Stay calm in spirit. Anger ages the face. Worry drains the body. Keep peace close to your heart. Nurture your hobbies. Joy isn't just for children.
Write, sing,
Learn,
laugh.
grow, until the very end. The tree grows slowly, and so do we. Dr. Zhou often said, health is like planting a tree. You can't force it to grow faster. You water it daily, protect it from wind, and wait. So simple. So true. And I think in our world, with its rush, its screens, its supplements, and stress, this is the reminder we all need. That longevity is built in small, quiet choices, repeated day after day. That real wellness isn't flashy. It's brushing your teeth, calling your daughter, going for a walk, eating half the cookie instead of the whole. Final words from one friend to another. Dear friend, if you've made it this far, thank you. Thank you for listening, for being curious, for caring about your health and your life. You don't have to do all 6 of Dr. Zhou's secrets. Start with 1. Maybe just sleeping earlier. Or drinking more water. Let it settle. Let it grow. Let it become part of you. 10 years from now, you might look back and say, I'm stronger. I'm calmer. I'm still here. And I'm doing well. That, I think, is the real gift of aging well. So until next time, take care of yourself. Take a breath. And keep watering your tree. We'll talk again soon. Let's grow old, slowly, wisely, and joyfully, together.